Hi everyone, this is my video about what's wrong with Gladiator 2, which the title convention is just a bit. On my other channel, I spend so much time thinking about really original titles for every video, where for this channel it's like I just want to come up with one concept then just plug in the title. So I did see Gladiator 2, which distinguishes me from most of YouTube movie reviewers who just fake it. They either don't see the movie, don't watch all of it, don't pay attention, or they just like host a live stream and talk to people who actually saw it, and then they read the Wikipedia. Or if they actually saw it, they mentally wrote their review before they saw it to fit their own narrative. So it's a weird experience having read these or listened to their reviews and then seeing the movie and being like, they got that wrong, they got that wrong, they got that wrong. This one is open to interpretation, but they purposely took the most malicious way to interpret it. So just bottom line up front, or whatever they say, it's good. For 3/4 of the movie, I was like, this is really good. What are people complaining about? Then I saw like the last quarter of the movie, it's like, shit. I'm not saying it's completely destroyed, but it literally feels like there were some meetings where it's like, is this really a sequel to Gladiator, or is this just a Gladiator movie? We really need to connect it to the first movie, which, I mean, they had done before, but it was kind of like subtle and organic. And then like at the end, they start basically doing like unlocks. Like, I'm playing Arkham Knight right now. It reminds me like, oh, like push this brick. Oh, I'm sorry. Toggle detective vision, and then you will see in like yellowish orange that there's one of these bricks. If you push it, it'll recess, and then it'll open up this very dark chamber where all the people planning to overthrow the emperors are meeting. And then like at one point, there's literally like, it's just like a throne to Maximus's armor, dusted apparently daily. And I was like, and again, this is like way into the movie, when the movie has proven itself like a good, solid movie, much better than I thought it was gonna. I went just as a time waster. It's like, okay, it's essentially like a holiday. It's, the night before Thanksgiving. Nothing's really happening. I'll go to the movies. Well, first of all, movies were packed between Wicked, Moana 2, and Gladiator, which my theater was more than half full a week after the movie came out. And the parking lot I've never seen it this full, ever. Like, it was a walk to get to the theater. So, but I like, the reviews are like not great. Actually, these aren't. Yeah, they're Screen Rant, Fandango, in the 80%. But like, if you go by YouTube shitheads, like, this is just like, I wasn't entertained. It's like, shut up, bitch. But anyway, so it's well, one issue I did have is this. Now, Gladiator came out, the first one, 4 days before I went to boot camp. So I was just preparing to leave for boot camp. And I remember on the flight to San Diego reading USA Today where they were talking about the opening weekend box office. I didn't see it until months later. I thought it was fine. I don't remember much. I just remember like the moments that everyone knows about. But I felt like it was very overpraised. That being said, from 2000 to 2004, every single barracks room I was ever in had, usually VHS at the time, Blade and Gladiator. Like, that was just mandatory. Like, every guy of that time loved the movie. I thought it was okay. To me, it was really about Russell Crowe. And he had been around for several years, and people really wanted him to be a movie star, but like, he didn't quite have that movie that made him a movie star. And then this one did, and then he just decided to get really fat. So now it's like Bro, you spent like 5 years. Like, dude, he was doing good stuff. He was in Virtuosity, not Synchronicity, as I said in another video. Quick and the Dead, which really holds up. If you haven't seen that recently or ever, go check. I was shocked. When I saw it at the time, like 1995, something like that, I was like, this is solid. Bro, it's good. So anyway, I haven't seen Gladiator in like 20 years. So I just remember like the basic things. He was a general and he was betrayed, and the emperor was all crazy, and then they fought in the ring, and what was it? Maximus was drugged, but then he still won. Um, and there was some, intrigue. I don't remember much. So this one is made as if you just got that shit memorized. So a lot of times they would just be talking about someone. It's like, I think they're talking about the guy who died on set because he was in a drinking contest with some sailors. I think, like I said, but like for 3/4 of the movie, like you just need this very minimal memory or just understanding of the first Gladiator movie. So it's about this guy Lucius, but they call him something else, something like Haro, something like that. Anyway, he's living in North Africa. They're being invaded by the Romans. He's not a general. He looks to me just like a NCO. He's like a sergeant. So he's coordinated some archers, one of whom is his wife. And they do a pretty good job of fighting the Roman forces, but the Roman forces win. His wife is killed. He's enslaved. And then he becomes a gladiator. So one of the problems I had is, again, these people, I call them the birthday party clowns, but it wasn't just them. It's basically YouTube reviews in general, is these people hate movies. Like, they just hate the concept of movies. So one of the things I kept hearing was like, oh, this movie was so boring. I kept falling asleep because of the boring nature of this boring movie. It's like, okay, I know that when YouTubers say something is boring, it doesn't mean it's actually boring. It means they can't find things to complain about, and the only reason they see movies is to complain about them, so they're kind of pissy about that. It's not boring. It's it clips along quite nicely. The problems, and it's overall a good movie, except for at the end gets kind of wobbly, is Paul Mescal. He's just not a leading man, and it seems like that's kind of a trend. Like, I liked Furiosa, but the lead was miscast. I haven't finished Ahsoka yet, but the lead was miscast. Like, it feels like these days, I know they say that there are no more movie stars, but you don't need a movie star. You just need, like, I mean, I know he's probably too old for this. Just, Jake Gyllenhaal. Just something like that. Like, this Paul Mescal, I don't know who the fuck he is. He just feels like a Joe Schmo British actor who would be in like a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones. Like, that's okay. You're gonna build an entire movie around him. That being said, I thought he did a good job, because this isn't the Lucius show the way that the first movie was the Maximus show. This is what's so interesting. It's really about Denzel Washington. He is effectively the lead. It's about him and him kind of dealing with these two emperors, Gaeta and Caracalla. Caracalla is a great name. So these guys are, kind of power mad brothers. I think they say they're twins. They're not actually twins in history, but and they're kind of like effeminate and if you know anything about Roman history, like every third emperor is like this. But again, like with these birthday party clowns, they have any kind of literacy. Like, they don't know anything. So they're like, these guys are so crazy and over the top. It's like, they were kind of, I'm not saying they were the average Roman emperor, but literally like every third emperor was like this. So the younger one is alcoholic, midget, twink, sadist who is suffering from syphilis like 1,500 years before it got to Europe, but whatever. They don't say syphilis; they just imply it's something like syphilis. So, Pedro Pascal, who I assumed he's not really pushed that much in the advertising. Really great role. And at the beginning, they've been doing this lately. If you actually go to the movies, is they will have just the actors as themselves, and they will just say like, "Hey, thanks for coming to the movies. We love movies, and we want you to love this movie." They didn't do this stuff before COVID, so that's nice. But Pedro Pascal is a Roman general who's kind of like he's getting sick of working for these emperors who all they want is war and expansion, and there's unrest at home, and he doesn't even get to be at home because they're always like, "Hey, good job taking North Africa. Now, just on your to-do list, how about India and Persia as well?" And he's what the fuck. So a lot of people want to overthrow these two emperors, which this was a thing back in the day. They used to have co-consuls all the time, and so it's really about Macrinus, a former slave who is now a slave. I don't know. He's like the Don King of gladiators. Very, very, very smart. So he's manipulating everyone, and so that's really it's really Denzel's movie, and Lucius is kind of like a spoiler. He's just kind of like a slightly better than average gladiator. By the way, the fights are really, really good. I really like that they don't have that dancey feel, like I do this and you do this, and then like, oh, if I'm too slow, just kind of like squirrel around, like don't attack me, just kind of like wait for me to punch you. There's a lots of hits in there that feel like that person just barely got the shield up in time. There's also, I don't know what this move is called, but it's like you just kind of hit someone with the side of your entire body when they're like temporarily on one foot and they just go flying. It looks great. It's very effective. It's not like a pretty, fight move, but it looks very effective. So the fights were excellent. It was overall better than I thought. I thought Denzel and Pedro Pascal were just going to be like in a couple essentially cameos. Oh, bullshit. Like it's their movie. It's their movie, and the two co-emperors and let's see the other guy. There's like this I was joking to myself, it's like movies used to always have one guy who talked like this. Like every movie before like 1960, there was like one, oh, hello. And there's a guy like that who gets manipulated by Macrinus. But overall, a good movie. Better than I thought it was going to be. The only problem was it's kind of subtle for a while, and then like it just completely starts like dick riding the legacy of the first movie. Like, yeah, it was good, but like, come on, like it didn't even need that. It could have just been like, "Are you my son? Are you the son of Maximus?" And he's like, they don't have 23andMe. You can't prove it. And he's like, there's no way of knowing. And then she can be like, "Will you have his spirit?" Something like that, where is he the actual son, or is he like the spiritual son inspired by the sacrifice? And like when they start opening, like it's literally like unlocks. It's like, oh, if you go over here, there's like I was just playing this what was it? Checkpoint. And there's a door, and there's like a weird little shrine to Solomon Grundy in there. I don't even think there was like a little, like they have the Riddler trophies. I don't think there was anything like that. It was just like this weird little alcove that was like a shrine to Solomon Grundy. But yeah, so there's like stuff in here where it's like, it was, 2.5 hours. It didn't feel long. I wasn't getting antsy because, like I said, it clips along quite nicely, but like you didn't. It's Gladiator 2, and you say this is Maximus's son, but they can't prove it. But you understand what I'm saying, that they kind of handled it. It was kind of light, for like 3/4 of the movie, and then in like the final quarter, it's just like I'm surprised they didn't just have like a realistic painting of him on a wall. They do like a at the beginning. There's this it's kind of like an After Effects filter. They show a bunch of scenes from the first movie, but they make it look like paintings. It's cool. So overall, good movie. Definitely a movie to see in the theaters. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I like the thing at the beginnings of movies now where the actors say like, "Hey, thanks for coming out to the movies. We know you could just sit at home and you could just wait 3 months and watch this on Amazon Prime." But if everyone does that, then movies are going to become like really cheap and really safe if nobody goes out. So thanks. I actually thought that this guy who played Caracalla did a great job. There's one point where Acacius is like, "Hey, instead of conquering other continents, why don't we feed our own people?" And he's like, "They can eat war." It's like, I love that. I love, and actually knowing about Roman history, I know that, again, not every emperor was like this, but basically like every third one was. So a good movie. Don't listen to YouTube shitheads who their business model is just telling you everything is terrible. It is not a perfect movie. It is, like I said, 75% of it is just a good, solid movie. And then it feels like there was some studio notes. Like, we need to connect this to the first one. It's like, oh, well, what if there was like a shrine to Maximus? Okay. What if he wore his armor? It's like, I mean, the character, again, not as interesting as Maximus, not as iconic, but by that time in the movie, like, he's proven himself. Like, he's a solid, I don't even know if I'd call him a protagonist. This is very much an ensemble. But yeah, go check it out. Ignore all the YouTube shitheads. The audience liked it. I liked it. It was a good time out at the movies. Um, uh, it's not woke. Sorry. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.